So that other video was 15 minutes. This one's gonna be a little bit different. This is gonna talk a little bit about focus. Okay, and I'm talking about this because while I was on this trainer's truck, um, this came up in a conversation. And again, this is about 2010, but it came up in a conversation with this young lady on the truck. So, and I'm talking about when I was a trainer. I'm not talking about nobody else as a trainer. I'm talking when I was a trainer. Okay. Um, when I started training, I only trained only guys coming out for the company that I came back to. And I trained all guys, mainly all military too. I think one wasn't, and I actually kicked one driver off my truck, which actually happened to be a friend of mine's husband. Um, I am very clear about getting on the truck, and I have a philosophy when you come on the truck as a trainer, and I haven't only trained in, obviously, because you guys know, if you watch some older videos, I have a corporate background. So I've trained in corporate America. I trained as a supervisor for a bank. I trained in other roles um, as supervisor for a telecommunication company. I trained as a trainer or coach for people coming into a tech support department. So I have other training background. So I have a very clear-cut view when you train, what you do, and what you produce. And to me, I always looked at my people, whether it was being a supervisor or training people, I looked at them as my kids. I did. There's a lot of times I realized I was, older. But I also look at them as a kid. So to me, training, supervising is almost like parenting. And you have some people who have a supervisor title and they think they're God. That was never me. I'm more like to act like more like a mom. Um, and mom. I like the word mentor because a mom is somebody who will mentor or train you up the way you go. A friend of mine's mother used to have a saying, and I'm going to use that for this video. Her saying was, I'm not training you for myself, I'm training you for the world. Because I'm not raising you for myself, I'm raising you for this world. And although the latter, what I said before, I'm not training you for myself, I'm training you for the world, is a very good terminology as well, phrase. So, if you're going to train people, you have to really, in my opinion, want to be invested in them. And a good trainer wants to invest in people because it's a direct replica of who they are. So I want to leave a footprint on you, so to speak. I want to leave an impression on you that you will be good at whatever you do, whatever you're training. I don't care if it's tech support, driving a truck, driving a train, flying a plane, whatever you do, that you'll be good at what you do. I have a friend of mine who's a registered nurse out in San Antonio, and she said that when she started her hands-on training after college, a lot of people complained about a certain nurse who was a trainer, and she said that's the nurse she went with because that woman made you get down and dirty into nursing. She got in there, the guts, the gore, and the poop and the filth and everything else, and so she knew that kind of trainer was going to make her an excellent RN. Okay, and that's who you want. Do you learn from the easy teacher? Not really. Not really, because nothing's required of you. Okay, um, and so you don't learn from that person. You learn from the person who truly wants to invest in you, and that's tough. That's why I think when I first watched, I told you the guy Junior Honduras. Please check his videos. He don't know me. I'm not associated with him other than I watch his videos. But please check his videos out. The guy I actually enjoy him because I really believe he invests in his people and he wants to train them the proper way to do it because I think he respects, well, actually, I don't know him, but I know he respects what he drives. Um, and that's the real big thing here in trucking. You must respect what you drive. Going fast is not, if that's what you're in it for, this is not the business. What we do in transportation, I don't care if it's trucking, trains, flying a plane, you can go fast. We used to say you can go fast one time too many and be done. Go down fast down a mountain and be done. You can go slow 5 many times. I don't drive for speed, I drive for the load. And I tell my students that when I used to train. I don't drive for speed, drive your load. If I have paper rolls on the back of this thing, slow that. If you know the road is raggedy, slow this truck down. 50, 55 miles an hour. Until you get off the raggedy road, then you can pick it up a little bit. When you're taking your corners and curves, take them easy. Slow it down. 5, 10 miles, even lower than that if you have to. A paper roll rocks. If it goes, you can be going straight. If that thing starts rocking, it'll take that truck right out. Okay? And, a lot of younger people don't realize what they're driving, what they're handling. Some people even my age may not realize what they're handling. So I'm gonna go back to 2010. I'm not talking about present. I'm talking about 2010. And I'm gonna talk about two students. The one I kicked off, my friend's husband, and I'm gonna talk about one that we didn't actually finish our time because I ended up switching to another. I ended up getting another job and leaving and so forth. So he actually ended up going to another. I think he went to owner op to finish out his time, but God knows I was done. And he was a good driver. That's the sad part, was he was a good driver. Me and my friend's husband was a good driver. I mean, a good driver as far as could drive the truck. He had decent backing skills. There were other issues. So even though you may bring all that to the plate or to the table, it still doesn't, to me, make you a good driver. What makes you a good driver is that you're paying attention to everything around you, like my cane. So, and you're not distracted. Oh, God, I can't stand distracted drivers. So here goes the story. My friends... Oh, let's go back to this. The young man who was on my truck, before I left this company I'm back at right now, he had a fiance, girlfriend, whatever that was. And in the bunk, when we got on the truck, you should also, as a trainer, have truck rules. Okay? Actually, when I go back to training, I'm going to have mine typed up. Okay? I've already planned it out. I already had written it out. I already had planned, because I now have planned my career objectives in this industry, what I'm doing with this industry, being an owner op and being a trainer. And so type out what your goals are, what your truck rules are for your truck. Even as a trainee, I think you should write up things you need to discuss with your trainer. How often am I going to get a shower? If I have an emergency, I have to go to the bathroom, is there a way we go to the bathroom on the truck? I mean, because those are things that you talk about. How do we dispose of if you have to have a emergency tinkle on the truck? And that should be disposed of frequently. You don't keep it on the truck like it's luggage. Okay, I'm going to leave that there. So, with that being said, laundry. How often are we washing laundry, clothes, bedding? You guys share the bottom bunk when you're teaming, so those are some things that need to be discussed. Okay. So, my trainee, I said, first of all, the upper bunk, no eating no crackers and nachos and chips, because that falls down to the bottom bunk, and I end up sleeping on it, and it's all in the bedding. So please don't eat that up there. If you're going to eat, you have a pull-out tray here you can eat on, sit on the bottom bunk. I don't have a problem with that, and enjoy your meal. But if you're going to eat crackery things that are going to have crumbs, that can't be eaten up there. Okay, soft stuff does not. I don't care, but I didn't want that in my bunk. I just didn't want to wake up with that on there. I kept rugs in the truck so that you got out the bed, you didn't get out on dry, cold rubber. But I had those kind of conversations. Shoes off in the bunk where those shoes stayed. If you had your work shoes, they stayed up front. Take them off in the front, leave them in the front. Put them on in the front, because that way you're not bringing the grit, sand, and dirt back into the bunk. And then when you crawl in the bunk when I'm driving, I got grit, even though we're using sheets over the top or sleeping bags, that still gets into the bedding of the previous person. So you don't want that in your bunk, okay? So that kind of stuff. The young man, when he got in the seat and he started driving, I could tell he could drive. Wasn't a problem. He drove in the military. He could drive. But, and I have my phone is being used, but got that handy little thing called a cell phone. And now the cell phone, even from 2010, has so much more on it. Gadgets and movies and videos and text and all sorts of stuff you could do while driving. Okay. Back then for him, fighting the cold guys. Sorry. I know it's gross spitting out my stuff, but Back then, for this young man, he was always on the phone with his girl. And it was either text or they would play poker games. You know, you can play games against each other across the phone network. And so, or he had music on here and he was trying to change the channels. And so the truck was doing this, you know, weaving on the road. I got out the bunk one night and said, look, dude, you know, he's on trying to drive and play a video game, a poker game, or talk to the girlfriend. I don't know what the hell he's doing. Truck was all over the road. I said, can I have your phone? He looked at me and said, huh? Let me have your phone. I said, look, dude, while you driving this truck, you focus on that road. You don't focus on the phone. You focus on the road. It's just who I am. If you focus on your phone, you're not focused on the road. If you focused on crying on the phone with your girl, this girl was named Tammy. Tammy! I'm serious, dude. There's some crazy ass stuff going on there. Like, he be crying on the phone to this chick. She had his balls in the vice grip. I don't know. But he's driving me freaking crazy. Tammy, I'm sorry, Tammy. And just drive me absolutely freaking batty. So I took his phone to the bunk with me. I did reports to the student services group, and I said, this is what I did, this is why I did it. I think he's an excellent driver, but he has some distractions. I'm going to give you a philosophy, and this video ain't going to be very long. Chuckle Bill, I love Chuckle Bill philosophies. And it's going to be a little raw, but it's going to be very real. Chuckle Bill had a philosophy. And I'm going to say the philosophy in two different ways, because it don't matter whether you're straight, you're gay, in between, over and under, I don't care what you are. It's a good philosophy. If you're worried about your pussy at home, then stay your ass at home, because this is some dangerous shit out here. Per Chuckle Bill. I say it for the females. If you're worried about your dick at home, keep your ass at home, because there's some dangerous shit out here. Per Chuckle Bill. And that philosophy has served me quite well. Just freaking ass. You know, no, I'm not somebody in a relationship, and I know that truckers have spouses and significant others. But if they're taking your distraction, and they're actually, I don't know if I can find a video. If I can find it, I'm going to see if I can find it. There's a night video out. I don't know if it's night, but this former night driver, he went through a divorce, and he wasn't sleeping good. He had a whole bunch of stuff he was stressed out about, and he finally fell asleep at the wheel. He does a video because his whole trucking career now, if you roll a truck, I don't know how many years you're off the road for, but you can't get behind the wheel of a commercial vehicle for quite some time, but not to mention the physical damage to his body and what you saw, and he's fortunate to just be alive, okay? You worried about all that shit at home, and if you do not have your mind on driving this commercial vehicle, flying that commercial plane, driving that freaking train, you may not go home to what you were worried to, because you will put your ass and somebody else in a casket. And you either will be dead or in prison because you didn't have your mind on the right stuff. So I'm going to stress to those of you, young and old drivers, if you're worried about your whatever at home, then keep your ass at home, because there's some dangerous shit out here. You can't be texting. You can't be playing games. You can't be doing all sorts of crazy stuff on your phones while operating this stuff. You just can't, people. And it was amazing just even sitting in the seat to see drivers with their phone here or driving down the road doing this. I'm right next to me. I'm like on the freeway. And I'm seeing this real time. And I know I'm older. I'm 48 years old. I'm old, and I'm set in a way. I'm old. I get it. But this has served me well. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm the top of the line driver in America, but I believe that my philosophy got me 3 years accident injury free. Praise God. Because my focus when I'm in the truck is the stuff in the truck, on the road. I'm not focused on Timmy, Bobby, whoever. I'm not, no. You need to focus on that when you go to bed. and then talk to them and go to sleep. And, you know, that's just my philosophy. And understand that you're doing that separation in order to make sure that you get home to the person you care about. I'm not trying to say you're not supposed to have somebody you care about. Praise God if you do. But if you are so busy feeding the need to interact with them, you're going to put yourself in a detrimental situation. Anyway, peace, joy, love, happiness. Two fingers.